Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video I'm going over all the things that I like and the things that I don't like, and then my final thoughts on the 2022 BMW M440i xDrive. With that being said, let's just hop right into the video. Now let's start things off with the front end of the car, which with some BMWs has been kind of controversial, right, because of this new front grille. We'll get into that in just a moment. First thing I want to mention, I mentioned this in my review, is the paint color on this one is just fantastic. You guys can see here in the sunlight, the metallic flake of the green just looks so beautiful. And then the headlights themselves look pretty normal as to BMW's normal styling, right? You've got the LED accent light there below the headlights themselves, so that's pretty normal. You've got some venting here off to the side that has the parking sensor integrated into it. And again, I think it looks good, looks normal. Now coming here to the grille, obviously we've got, you know, parking sensors integrated here into the grille. We've got like a sensor there at the bottom. And so not only is the grille large, right, you've got quite a bit happening. Now, when you look at the grille from a distance, right, you don't really notice those things all that much. Like when you step back, right, you kind of just notice that it has a large grille. When you get up close, you kind of notice some of the elements here in the center. Here's what I have to say is initially I was kind of a little bit like, I'm not so sure about this new grille. But now that I've, you know, seen a regular, like if I saw 430, I had a 430i for a week with this, and now I have this 440. I'm used to it at this point, and I don't think it looks bad. I saw this next to the last generation of BMW, and I was like, you know what? I don't know. I think it looks good at this point. I think that it was one of those things where, you know, BMW kind of like saw into the future, and they're like, you know what? People are going to be a little bit weirded out by this, but they'll get used to it in the future. And so, yeah, that's what I have to say about the grille. You guys can have your own opinions, but I think it looks good at this point. Coming here to the side, I think that they did a really good job with the wheel design on this car. These look just as good as what you get from a lot of aftermarket companies. And so I think BMW absolutely nailed it. Like, this is a car that I would never feel the desire or need to get aftermarket wheels because of how good these look. And then also I love the red brake calipers as well. I think that's cool. And then again, you can see the green paint. Something else that's really cool is the mirrors. I love the shape of the mirrors themselves. I think that is a really cool design touch with it. And then the door handles help out with the aerodynamics. This is one thing that I'm not necessarily in love with because they kind of feel awkward to open at certain times. But again, it kind of like makes the car look a little bit sleeker, because you can see here from the full side profile, with the door handles all flush and everything, it looks super sleek from a side perspective. And then same thing here in the rear. You guys can hear it's locking, unlocking. It's because it's got the proximity key thing. Taillights, this is something that people have just kind of like agreed looks good, basically. And then also exhaust tip area with the coverings and everything. I think that looks great as well. And then I think there is, yes, right here in the center, a button. So it's an automated hatch. I think that's a huge plus. I definitely like that fact about it. Storage space back here is really good. It's got a cargo cover already built in. I think that is another huge positive. So I think BMW did a good job from a storage perspective, and I like the fact that it's a power hatch because it makes it easier. It kind of adds a level of like SUV practicality to this hatchback car. Now popping here to the rear, also known as frameless windows, or yes, kind of weird. Anyways, you guys can see the trim here. I really like the look of this. And then with the cream colored leather, I think that looks great in contrast to the green. I think that the design on this particular car, BMW nailed it. Harman Kardon sound system, absolutely amazing. Sounds amazing. And we'll go over the window sticker later. But you guys can see here the seats in the rear, definitely like them. My one complaint about the back is legroom's a little bit on the cramped side. And then I love the fact you have climate controls. That's another huge positive, and you know, another bit of practicality. Now, blind spot monitoring in the mirrors. That's definitely a big positive. Here's the door panel in the front. Same thing as the rear. The seats are manually adjustable. I'm not sure exactly what's going on here. Just kidding. I kind of know. So obviously we've had a ton of microchip shortages, and so some manufacturers have been switching back to manual seats and basically giving people a credit if they're okay with doing manual seats, and that's the case with this. This is just a press car, so this is not super important. This is not like a customer delivered car. So the fact that it has manual seats is not a big deal whatsoever. And anyway, they give you a credit for it anyways. But you guys can see here with the bolstering on the seats and everything, looks great. And popping in, I love the pedals. I think the pedals look really nice too. Let's get her started up. This is where we're gonna get into my next little beef thing, I guess, in a second. Anyways, light control's really easy to use. I like that they're buttons rather than like a stock switch, so that's a big positive for me. Steering wheel, BMW kills it with steering wheel design. Looks amazing, feels amazing. Paddle shifter is really easy to use. All the controls make sense, right? You've got like the adaptive cruise control here, stuff for like the infotainment system on the other side pretty much. And again, it's just really straightforward. And leather wrapped airbag cover, heated steering wheel button is on the steering wheel. Like everything's just so ergonomic and makes sense. Now this is my one beef thing. It's the fact that the screen isn't showing up. So again, this is a press car. This is not a customer delivered car. So before you guys freak out and get really angry, just understand, like, this is probably going to be like one of the earliest production 2022s out there, right? And so then that means that, you know, sometimes there can be some issues that a regular customer is not going to have to deal with. So yeah, the screen doesn't always start up, and what I've noticed is it happens typically on colder days, which is all the time right now because it's winter. But on a warmer day, it started up completely fine. And so what I've found myself having to do is I have to drive around for like 5 to 10 minutes without a gauge cluster, and then it'll like pop on after driving for a little bit. The gauge cluster itself is amazing. It's a full digital gauge cluster. If you guys want to see what it looks like, go watch my review on this car on the main channel. But yeah, that's the thing that I don't know, like, I'm giving BMW the benefit of the doubt that this is just because this is a press vehicle and this vehicle isn't all that important in my opinion. It's just so that, you know, someone like me can show you the car. So yeah. Anyways, infotainment system, super easy to use as well. Like response time on it is great. You guys can see with this, like everything responds super fast. And the beeping, by the way, is from the infotainment system because it's, or not the infotainment system, the gauge cluster because it's not working. Camera resolution also really good. And you get like the 360 camera view. So that's also a huge positive with the 440. So yeah, I think that they nailed it. From a camera perspective, from an infotainment system perspective, it's all really easy to use. It's got wireless Apple CarPlay, all that fun stuff. And then I like that you have a safety tech shortcut. You press that and you can go into the safety tech, which is pretty cool. Dual zone climate here for the front, heated seats here for the front passengers as well. That's all great. It would be cool to see air conditioned seats, especially considering the price, but I'm not going to complain too much. You guys can see analog. I like that they have a bunch of analog controls for everything, by the way. I think that's a big positive. Like the infotainment system is very easy to use, very straightforward, but it's still cool that you have analog controls, so you just have physical buttons you can quickly go to, like if I want to turn on the heated seat, for example. Wireless phone charger works all the time. So that's another big positive with this car. Some cars, the wireless phone charger won't necessarily work all the time, whereas this, on the other hand, does work all the time. And then I love the wood trim here. I think that's another big positive. The wood trim looks great. Got the cup holders down here, which storage space for that's been good. Now the shifter, really easy to use, and I like that they have different buttons for every single drive mode because that makes shortcutting really easy. And then we have more analog controls to the infotainment system. Like I said, it's easy to use with the touchscreen, but this makes it even more practical and even easier to use. And then you've got the buttons here for like stability control and all that, which are great and easy. And then storage space is fine, right? And you've got a little charging port in there, and then you guys can see here in the glove box that whole setup and everything. That's all good. I almost forgot to mention we have an automated sunroof, which is another nice feature, kind of brings more light into the cabin, but since this interior is so light, it's not really needed, but it's a nice luxury feature. Anyways, got the window sticker before we pop under the hood. So you guys can see total MSRP, $67,520. I mean, this comes with all-wheel drive, really fun performance driving. I mean, you guys can see the powertrain, and I guess we'll get into that in just a second. But yeah, I mean, for everything that this has going for it, for the looks, the segment that this is in, the all-wheel drive capability, the tech that it has, I mean, I think it's right where it needs to be compared to the competition. So I don't really have any complaints on the pricing or anything like that. And I guess that we will pop the hood, which is another huge positive. You just pull this twice, and then the whole hood is, so this is something that's cool. So you pull it twice, and this thing will just pop right up. No problem. Under the hood, we have a 3-liter turbocharged inline-6, goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. It's good for 382 horsepower and 368 pound-feet of torque. Sounds amazing. Performs flawlessly as well. And the transmission's super responsive. Like this, I can't complain about the powertrain. It's perfect. Like there is no down, and it gets good fuel economy. So there's literally no downside to this powertrain. So they've nailed it. So there's some people bringing some countertops for the house, so I'm going to finish this video here in the car. So I guess my final thoughts here on the M440i xDrive. So first off, I really like the fact that it's all-wheel drive. That adds some practicality. I mean, it's wintertime right now, and so the all-wheel drive has been great. Performance, I think, is right there. I think the looks are there as well. I've gotten a lot of positive comments while driving this car around. A lot of people just say it's a really good-looking car, and a lot of people actually thought that I purchased this car. They didn't realize it was like a press car. Like, people that know me, because they like, I guess that they thought that it was like they're like, that's a super nice car. I could see you like driving that. So a lot of positive comments on the car. And even though it's not technically like an M car, it's just an M Sport car, the performance is there and everything. And so like, I really don't see a downside with this car. And so I guess if you're looking for a really good, practical, all-wheel drive car that has, you know, that is an amazing luxury car, has crazy performance, has good safety tech, then that's what this will do for you. And hopefully you don't have this. I don't understand. It just it just beeps for days.